Right, Chick-Jack, Stewie, are you here, my man?
Yep.
Unknown?
Yep, I'm here.
Blizzard? Okay, yeah, I see you. Sorry, Jan yourself. So, I don't really think you need training, because I know you are a little bit of a long-time player. Anyway, so let me continue. Okay, so next up, let's talk about communications, what you should do before you depart, and how to actually effectively talk, because the closest support transmissions, by their nature, has to be very brief. Okay, because in real life, people's lives are at stake, and we're trying to somewhat simulate that, because as you know, this is a milsim after all, even though it's not a hardcore milsim. So, actually, before all that though, let's talk about pre-departure. Like what you should do before you actually get up and fly. So, when you sign in, okay, if you're taking over someone, let's say this demon, you're gonna take over his role. Be sure to ask for a brief from that guy, okay? Because he can probably give you a briefing on how things have been like out there. Like, for example, if there's any air threats, if there's any air traffic problems, if there is any terrain issues that you should be aware of. For example, if there's a lot of danger close stuff in general, okay? And this extends to not only the guy you're taking over, okay? You can, for example, ask a stalker for information, okay? And this is not just when you're in the ground, okay? When you're flying, keep communications with the other air assets. You have 70 for that, okay? For example, when they're flying for, let's say Stalker's doing reinserts, right? He flies and he gets shot at by a Z, let's say. Well, you can just call him on short range and ask him for that. Where did the fire come from? Was there a radar log? If there was a radar log, that could have been a shulker. How far out do you think the radar log came from, right? So keep the communications with the other assets as well, okay? Because they can give you stuff that even your JTAC may not be aware of, okay? So, get your briefing and talk to other people, okay? They also have pieces of information that you may find useful. Now, I'm going to talk about, actually, before the communication with the JTAC bit, adapt to how your JTAC operates, okay? This may sound weird on paper, but let's say you're a hardcore milsim guy. You know your fucking 9 lines, 5 lines, your code words, brevities, like fucking all the procedures and all that shit. But your JTAG may be a little bit new. Well, instead of just using stuff that is alien to him and possibly overwhelming the guy with full information, sort of adapt to his playstyle. Don't force him to like use procedures or like do things that he's not comfortable with. Okay, like for example, Deceive 1, as you know, he plays JTAG frequently. When I'm playing Reaper, for example, we always do things on like 9-line basis. Okay, but there's Rosegriz, who's also a great JTAG. He's maybe as good as Deceive, but he does things casually, and I don't force him to do 9 lines. And we still operate and prosecute targets. Maybe a little bit less effective. Doesn't matter, we still get the job done. Okay? So don't force your JTAG to do things that he's not comfortable. And if he's new, explain how things in general work. Okay? For example, if he puts BPs like 1 kilometer away, explain like why you don't like that, why you want the BPs out further out, for example. Let him know, for example, what rifle means if he doesn't know that, because there will be new guys in certain roles, even though they failed an exam, but they may not be confident in that role yet. So play along with whoever your JTAG is. You may go, oh, why doesn't he play along to how I operate? Well, remember, you're the support guy. He's a leadership role. Okay? So what he says is the rule of sorts. Okay, now let's actually get to communications. Now, I'm going to touch on how to use the radio properly. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I'm not going to say, yeah, like, do this, do that. I'm going to just add in a couple of bits. You may have heard that I have seen that some people don't use. As I said, closed air support transmissions, by their nature, has to be short. Okay, short and to the point. Because, as I said, people's lives are at stake in real life, and just mimicking that shit. So, first one is, okay, don't talk over people when they're talking. Okay, on 8.0 this is a frequent occurrence and pisses people off every single time it happens. Okay, this mostly happens when, for example, someone switches to a frequency and they start talking immediately. For example, people just open their long range, type in 8.0 and immediately start transmitting, and then they hear someone else talking at the same time, and well, nobody heard or understood anything. Right? So that's a good way to cut and clog frequencies. Don't talk over people. When you, for example, switch to a new frequency, give that some like couple of seconds before you start talking. Okay? Like wait your turn. All right. If the transmission you're gonna like let people know of is very important, what you can do is you can tell break, break, break. Okay? Saying what I'm gonna say is crucial information, so everybody shut the fuck up and listen to me, basically. Okay? So you can say break, 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 and let the guys know, one time red air approaching north, right? That's probably more important than Stalker just telling, oh yeah, I don't like that else, some other shit. Okay? Next is, think about what you're gonna say before you actually say it. This sometimes, for example, people that don't communicate often sometimes go stuttering, for example, or go demon 1-8 like that. So think about what you're gonna say before you say it. A couple of seconds. It's not that. I'm not saying wait 5 minutes, but know what you're gonna say before you start talking. Okay, so your transmission will be shorter. Next up is if, for example, you need to reach someone, but he's busy, but it is important information, okay, but it's not comms like the frequency, right? What you can say is priority message. This goes for if, for example, you call 1-8 and he says hold one, but it's important, let's say Shilka's approaching. You can say 1-8 demon priority message. That guy will know, yes, what I'm doing is important, but what that guy is going to say is maybe a little bit more important, right? So priority message, remember that. And lastly is break. Okay. This is plenty useful if you're gonna say if you're gonna have a long ass transmission. For example, check-ins, arms reports, requesting clearance bits, ISR reports, okay, or grid transmissions. These will be long as shit, okay. And if you do breaks in between, transmission is going to be a lot clearer for everyone involved. Okay. So let me give you an example. So let's say you're doing a check-in. You got the clearance to fly. You're flying into the AO, and you want to let your JSOC know what you're flying, what ordnance you have, what your status is, and where you are. Okay, that's a check-in. Instead of just making a one long fucking transmission without any breaks and like scrambling what the fuck you were saying, you can, take pauses and make it a little bit clearer. Okay? We're not in a rush here. This is a video game. Okay? So, an example will be, let's say I'm checking in and I've got a light little bit, I'm going to do a check-in. Okay? You go, check-in is as follows. Demon is 1 times AH6 light, break. Gun is green. 1-4 Hydras, break. Playtime of 1-5 mics, break. At grid 1-2 tree, break. 4-5-6 Angels 1. That was a little bit better than saying the whole thing